Out in America's election headquarters today, Donald Trump covering a whole lot of ground in a wide-ranging interview with the Associated Press. In it, he talked about his tax returns and running against Hillary Clinton in the general election. Mr. Trump saying that while he planned to be tough on her, he may avoid negative ads, explaining this, quote, "I just don't find them to be very effective. I've had over $100 million in negative ads spent on me, and every time it's boosted my numbers." Joining us now to talk about this interview, a lot of good nuggets coming out of it, Gianno, Caldwell, principal and founder of Caldwell Strategic Consulting and former Republican County Director of African American Outreach in the state of Illinois, and Richard Fowler, a Democratic strategist and radio talk show host. Welcome to you both. Richard, let's start with you. If he doesn't use the negative ads, is that a bad thing for him or a good thing?
Well, I think it's actually a really good thing. If you look at some of the battleground states, for example, in the last election in Florida, all you saw was negative ad on top of negative ad on top of negative ad. And what ends up happening is the message completely gets muddied. And because the message gets muddied, you don't have a chance. He won't have a chance to say, you know, make America great again. It'll be a whole bunch of mud and nothing gets done about it, which is why negative advertising in this post-Citizens United world is not the best use of money or capital.
But Gianno, the conventional wisdom in politics has long been negative ads work.
Well, we see that Donald Trump is not a conventional candidate, and he's made this an unconventional election cycle. I think when it comes to Donald Trump, especially considering the fact that he says that, hey, I may or may not run ads against Hillary Clinton, and what we notice is the wall-to-wall coverage in which he has generated throughout this entire election cycle provides ads in and of itself. Whatever he says about Hillary Clinton gets ran in the cycle, and we'll see it get ran time after time on every network. So what's the point in spending money on ads when you have the media to push your message for you?
Well, it would be fascinating if he didn't go negative on her and instead ran an inspiring positive campaign with a message. That would be something pretty new in elections. I want to talk about his taxes, and he has said, he told the Associated Press that he really saw no reason to release them, saying, quote, "There's nothing to learn from them." A lot of folks want to see his taxes. Mitt Romney last time around released them in January of 2012, many months before the convention. Richard, what do you think of that decision or that statement on his part?
Oh, I think every candidate should release their tax returns, and here's why. What the tax returns show you is what this person is paying for taxes, right? So and I think why Donald Trump is afraid of releasing his taxes, because maybe his marginal tax rate is at 6 or 7 or 8% because of tax loopholes in our broken tax system. He doesn't want the secretaries, and he doesn't want the bricklayers and the painters and the carpenters of the world to know that they pay more in taxes percentage-wise than he does, which is why he's delaying as much as possible.
But we have had very wealthy candidates before, whether it's John Kerry and certainly others. Mitt Romney, for example, they've released theirs. Yeah, Gianno, what do you think?
I think that in this particular case, a candidate like Donald Trump, who has pontificated about his business success and how he's used the laws to his advantages, I don't think that it's problematic for him to say, I don't want to release my taxes. And unlike Richard, I think that in this case, he doesn't need to. Why? Because there's been an analysis done on his wealth. He presented when he announced that here's my wealth.
Why not release your tax returns, Gianno?
Because again, he provided information showing what his wealth was like. If I may say this,
Richard, I would think though at some point he would almost have to, because if he doesn't, it gives too much fodder for the Democrats. It's never been done before, to my knowledge, where somebody hasn't released their taxes. On the other hand, there could be something damaging. And let me ask you about something else, though, guys, and that is the VP, who he would bring on to be his vice presidential nominee. Richard, what do you think about Chris Christie? And he said 5 or 6 people he's looking through right now.
Well, I don't think Chris Christie is at the top of his list. I think he'll be the head of the transition team, but Chris Christie has way too much water under the bridge, both literally and figuratively. The Bridgegate scandal has harpooned Chris Christie.
Yeah, but that thing's a done deal.
Gives him nothing. Yeah, but it gives him nothing. He won't win New Jersey as a state. So he's going to have to find a candidate that's going to give him a chance to win a state, right? So Joan C. Ernst, a senator from Iowa, is a good pick. I would argue maybe Jan Brewer in Arizona might be a good pick. He's going to have to find a battleground candidate, or a candidate from a battleground state that will give him some ground and some leverage against what will be a very, very powerful Democratic ticket in a situation where he doesn't have African Americans, he doesn't have Latinos, and he doesn't have women.
Yeah, Gianno, when he's just talking about they're picking somebody for geography, that's one of the things that Donald Donald Trump says he won't do. He's not going to pick somebody from a state, a battleground state necessarily.
Yeah, and I would say to Richard's point on he doesn't have women, we're seeing that Hillary Clinton's numbers are very bad. So moving on, though,
I think than Donald Trump's.
Richard, have you been around open cans of paint? Because that was a delusional statement. I'm just being honest with you. That was really delusional.
I was talking about the ORC Wall Street Journal poll, but okay.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to leave it there. Richard Fowler and Gianno Caldwell, great to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us today. John.
Chinese fighter